Today I fucked up by making a joke and losing the right to see my daughter. This just happened last week. I got home from working out of town Thursday night and my wife warns me that there is a problem with my 7-year-old daughter. Beth comes in and I can see that she has a few bug bites on her face and one of her eyelids is a little droopy. She feels fine though. I am off work the next day and my wife is going to the office. I wake Beth up for breakfast and her eye is now much worse. It is more than half closed and a little red. She still feels fine. As soon as the doctor opens, I call them and they tell us to come in. We get there and I go to check in. The receptionist that I have never seen looks at my daughter and says, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" So I responded as a joke, she got out of line. I know. It's horrible. I'm sorry. I have a weird sense of humor and I'm a bit socially awkward. Anyway, we all smile and giggle before we head to the waiting area. Soon we are called in. The checkup goes as expected. It's a reaction to the bug bites and he tells me to use some over-the-counter Zyrtec or Benadryl. Then there is a knock on the door and the doctor steps out. He comes back in a few minutes later and says that the police would like to talk to me. The doctor is angry. We all head to the doctor's office to talk. There is a policeman and a policewoman. The policewoman starts making small talk with my daughter and asks if she wants to go in the other room and read a book. My daughter has an irrational fear of the police from when her older brother would threaten to call them whenever she went in his room. So she says no and buries her face in my side. The police then tell me that it is better that she is in another room. I saw one of Beth's cheer coaches bring her son in soon after we got there and mention that she may still be there to watch her. The doctor, still visibly angry, goes to check and she is, so Beth goes to sit with her in the waiting room. The police explain that they have a report of possible child abuse. The doctor explains that this was a simple misunderstanding. He just examined my daughter and there is no abuse. I now realize that it is the receptionist that he is angry with. She makes an excuse and leaves the room. He says that he thinks he has to let her go. He says this is the second incident in 2 weeks. He says that her bad judgment got his practice and the entire executive park closed for 4 hours last week, and his neighbors now hate him. The police are apologetic but say they need to do a full investigation and ask if I can come to the station. A friend comes to pick up my daughter who is freaking out at this point. We get to the station, they allow me to drive there myself, and my uncle who is a lawyer meets me there. The police are apologetic and say they already know what happened but a full investigation and report need to be done. They say it is a minimum of 3 to 5 days, maybe longer. I call my wife who goes ballistic. The county attorney says that they normally seek restraining orders in these cases, but if I sign an agreement to stay away from my daughter until the investigation is closed, they would not seek one. My uncle recommends this as the restraining order would be public record. I stay at my brother's for the weekend and schedule an out-of-town trip that I really don't need to make for this week. I can't wait to get home to see my family, and sleep in my own bed, but I'm pretty sure my wife will have me on the couch for a little while. TL/doctor, made a bad joke, got investigated for hitting my kid, lost the right to see her. Sitting in a hotel room on a useless business trip. Edit, spelling. Edit 2, update. Thank you for the gold, kind strangers. Wow, this blew up. I wanted to answer some of the questions that you guys had. I want to thank all of you guys for the kind words and support. For those of you saying that I am an idiot, you are probably right. 1. I will not be sleeping on the couch. My wife got over this fairly quickly and is no longer angry. At least not at me. 2. I am heading home from Boston tomorrow evening, and I think everything should be resolved by then. 3. I will not be taking legal action against the receptionist. She was very young, did not do this out of animosity. I do not know what, if anything, will happen to her job. I am not pushing for her to lose it. 4. The other story about the receptionist goes like this, as told to me by the doctor. A few weeks ago the lights in the parking lot of the executive park blew and the landlord had trouble getting them fixed, so he rented temporary light stanchions for the businesses that are open past sundown until they could figure out the problem. These lights apparently ran on gas or diesel. The receptionist came back from lunch one day and smelled something, so she called the state's Department of Environmental Protection to say that she believed that there was a fuel leak. The DEP closed the parking lot for the rest of the day for cleanup. It turned out to be nothing. Imagine how my dad felt when I had run headfirst straight into the edge of a door, and then didn't want to talk to any hospital staff about it. When I was 5, I ran face first into a doorknob and got a terribly obvious black eye. Went to school the next day when a concerned teacher asked if the black eye happened at home. I said yes. Lol. At 5 years old I didn't understand the implications of that question, just the literal answer of it happening at my house from a doorknob. Whoa, this is weirdly similar to something my own dad did. Once my sister got a mosquito bite on her face that swelled her eye up, and when the chemist asked what happened, my dad, who couldn't even speak the language, decided doing a punching motion to her 8-year-old face while laughing was a good option. The look on the women's face, turns out laughing isn't so universal after all. Luckily, there were no repercussions. This made me laugh quite a bit. The fact he couldn't speak the language but still wanted to make bad a joke is brilliant. He says that her bad judgment got his practice and the entire executive park closed for 4 hours last week, and his neighbors now hate him. I want to know what happened here. The doctor prescribed weed to somebody and they were like, "Man, this doctor is the bomb." So she called the police about a bomb threat. Man, that is rough. I can imagine how much that sucks. I see it as a hidden luck that it was at the doctor's office and he could completely say there is no abuse. I imagine if the joke had been made on your way out and they met you at your home, it would have been even worse. This will pass. Keep being an awesome, non-abusive father. Yeah, thank God they didn't see his son with the whip marks on his back. That would have been a problem. Today I fucked up by teaching my baby sign language. I go to this mommy and me thing every week with my daughter. Not because it's my kind of thing, but because my mother-in-law paid the membership for a year as a Christmas gift to my 1-year-old, aka she doesn't think I'm socializing her grandchild enough, and this was her way of passive-aggressively correcting my parenting. Anyways, we go to this thing every week for an hour and all the Pinterest moms are planning themed birthday parties and discussing screen time and sharing gluten-free recipes while their kids stare at each other. But all these kids know sign language, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. So I start looking into this and try teaching my kids some basic signs for basic needs, and it's working. Suddenly, my tiny human who otherwise could not effectively communicate with me knows how to say more and all done and drink. She can call me mom and my husband, dad. Holy shit. Thanks Pinterest moms. I take back all the shit I talked about you to my kid on our weekly drives home. Well, today with my husband out of town, I didn't feel much like cooking, and since my daughter is pretty laid back at restaurants, I decided to go out for a quick dinner. The kid loves French fries and so do I. So we hit the local burger joint and I order a beer, a burger with fries, and a side of fruit. The server brings a little styrofoam cup with a lid and a straw filled with water for my daughter, and I set it out of her reach so she doesn't Hulk smash the styrofoam and make a mess. So of course every time she wants some, she signs drink. And every time she wants my attention, she signs dad, because apparently the slightly different sign for mom isn't as fun for her. Okay, whatever. Well, I notice a couple tables away, there are a couple of women who are also signing to each other, but they're looking over at us and snickering. I'm like, okay, I did like 4 quick Google searches. Maybe I botched some of what I taught her. It's fine. But then, as the women are leaving, they stop by our table and one of them lays her iPhone down with a message typed out for me to read. It says something to the effect of she's calling you dumb and telling you she wants to drink alcohol. I'm like, wait, what? So she continues to show me that I have in fact taught my daughter the wrong signs, that there are different signs for drink, non-alcoholic beverage, and drink alcohol, and by balling her first up instead of using a flat hand at her forehead, my daughter has been calling me dumb instead of dad, which was already wrong obviously since I am her mom. I can only imagine what the Pinterest moms would have done had I shown up next week with my kid asking to drink liquor. Too long didn't read, ASL is hard, and my baby has been asking me for alcohol all week due to improper signing. ETA, thanks, everyone. I'm glad you all enjoyed this post. Please understand that the conversation that took place with the deaf women was totally light-hearted. They were not correcting our signing to be rude or in thinking that I was trying to teach my child proper ASL. They were not oblivious to the fact that baby signing is not the same as ASL. They just thought my baby was cute and used the coincidence to strike up conversation, and it was funny and welcome. Also, please note that I literally searched baby sign language and based the signs off of still frames from Google. I have no idea how close they were to the real signs. Additionally, this happened 4 years ago when my now 5-year-old was 12 months old. She speaks English well, for all of you who were concerned for her development. We were always sure to say the words while signing them. She now has a baby sister who is 12 months old and is signing, which is what reminded me of this story that I decided to share with you all. I'm new to Reddit and did not realize it was obligatory to let you know that this did not actually happen today. You can take back your upvotes for this as necessary. Smile. Hey, dummy, I want shots. As a child of deaf parents and being a certified ASL interpreter, I 100% believe this happened. I've heard and seen far, far, far worse. Ha 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 ha. I love it. We had a girl in my sign language class I took in college who was so impressed because she had a sign language name from a deaf friend, and she showed it to us and the teacher. The teacher very calmly and straight-faced said, "Your friend named you bitch, you just introduced yourself as my name is bitch." Look, don't sweat it. My 1-year-old's sign for mama is the sign for milk. I mean, she's not wrong. Ha ha ha. That's awesome. I signed with my son when he was little and his way of signing wasn't the exact correct signs, but at least I knew what he meant. That's just amusing that a table who knows ASL would be right there watching. I hope they were happy you are signing with your baby. Don't worry, once kiddo starts talking it's a whole nother ball game. My son was trying to say britches, that's what we used to call diapers, and instead pointed at a pregnant woman and her 2 friends and yelled bitches. So yeah, it only goes up from here. Yes. That is amazing. Ha ha ha. I have a 5-year-old niece who I used to babysit weekly when she was 2. She loved trucks, but she called them fucks. We would go to the park and she would stand at the top of the jungle gym, pointing at the cars on the road yelling fuck. Fuck, auntie. As a deaf person, I love this. Too funny. I frequently see little kids signing fuck you accidentally when they mean thank you. The signs are super similar. I've definitely had to hold back laughter a few times. Oh no. I work in a pharmacy now and I have a few deaf patients I always try and communicate the basics with. I'm not fluent by any means, but I say stuff like hi, sign here, and thank you, and now I'm worried I've been insulting them this whole time. Today I fucked up by letting my boyfriend have control over the lube. We are in the middle of the polar vortex. I got a phone call last night saying that I didn't have to come into work the next day, which is awesome because my boyfriend also has the day off. We decided to get a little tipsy, play some video games, and enjoy being indoors. Well, once we got liquored up we decided that it was sexy time and we went to the bedroom, where we had the lights partially dimmed. I was ready to get laid, because, well, I wanted to. So I told my boyfriend to grab the lube while I climbed on top of him. The bottle of lube has one of those tops that you push down on one end, and the other end pops up so you can dispense it like this. I was on top of him, and this is where our drunk asses fucked up. Because he was holding the bottle of lube its right way up, all the liquid was towards the bottom and nowhere near the lid. He squeezed the bottle hard to try and get the liquid out, but since he didn't turn it sideways, it didn't work. Again, we were drunk, so shit happens. While he was squeezing the hell out of the bottle, he had it held directly to my labia/clit for the product to come out right where we needed it. He couldn't get any lube to come out, so when he released the bottle, my labia and part of my clit got sucked into the cap, enough for the suction to be strong enough that it held onto my labia, as I screamed and jumped off him. The bottle dangled for less than a second until he grabbed the bottle and pulled it off my skin. I now have a small, hickey-like bruise on my labia, and the plastic caused my clit to bleed a little bit. We sobered up real quick. I fell asleep crying with my boyfriend rubbing my back. Too long didn't read, boyfriend got too close using the lube, clit got vacuumed into the seventh gate of hell. So you're pretty much the instructions unclear, clit stuck in lube bottle person. My first thought was, too much or not enough. Bottle use error. That's not what I was expecting. Is that how you youngsters copulate these days? Why, in my day, it was considered polite to warm the lube up in your hands before applying it, especially on a snow day. Just shooting it out of the bottle. Forsooth. These damn kids with their Fortnite and their unlubricated vaginas. Well, that sucks. Sweet Jesus, that sounds awful. I am so sorry. Injuries to the nether regions are brutal. I once drunkenly dry humped my way to a skin abrasion on my dick. My best friend accidentally kicked me in the crotch once. My thin shorts and panties did nothing to protect my clit when her big toe found its target. Bruised for days, walking was so uncomfortable. Just the pressure from movement made me tear up at first.